Well, well, well. Looks like we're finally back. Hello, everyone! Artemir the Violet Wizard here, and today we're continuing the Pokémon SoulSilver Nuzlocke. Last time we had a pretty nice battle against Morty, the gym leader of Ecruteak City. And we went around to some areas we had previously visited our journey in order to see what can now be obtained using our Surf and Strength HMs. This time we're going to be continuing the Surfing Grand Tour and hopefully get done everything we are able to do before heading off to our next gym battle, which is going to be interesting for a few reasons. But yeah, our next stop on our Surfing Grand Tour has brought us back to Azalea Town, as we're going to be heading back down into the well that Team Rocket had once invaded in order to harvest the tails of the local slowpoke population. Pretty damn morbid storyline that got going on there, ain't it? Looks like our buddy Cameron decided to hang out down here. Yeah, it's a pretty remote spot for a picture. We can go ahead and take one. Thanks for that, buddy. I just love all the different areas that Cameron can pop up. He is definitely quite the persistent NPC in that he'll travel to a lot of different places throughout the Johto region just to offer a prime spot for pictures. But yeah, we are back here in the Slowpoke Well. And hopefully we'll be clearing up everything we can do over here. Definitely want to make sure we have our item finder out, as that will be helpful for detecting some lost items in here that could be useful to us. As we're going to be taking out everything that we can possibly do here. I'm not too worried about a Togepi here. Thing is just a little baby. Sahara can easily take that out. Yeah, I swapped Sahara back into the party so we can get some more levels on her, as Charlotte definitely took a lot of the spotlight in the previous session. Just want to make sure that all of my Pokemon that I'm currently using in this rotation are getting a nice amount of time in the spotlight. So, I mean, Sahara definitely deserved a nice break after winning us that gym battle last time. I've definitely been pretty satisfied with how the gyms have turned out so far. Just randomizing what the trainer loadouts are has made this a pretty interesting challenge in a few ways. Ultimately, I do feel it kinda sucks some of the challenge out of this a bit, since the trainers don't usually have these specific strategies that are tailor-made for their Pokemon teams. But it's also still pretty nice to just see a wider variety of Pokemon being used by trainers throughout the adventure. Definitely an interesting way to shake up the difficulty a bit compared to how it is in vanilla. It's like where trainers will be using a lot more unpredictable... the teams are going to be more unpredictable, but they don't typically use very specialized strategies. So yeah, it's an interesting dynamic with this challenge. So while we're back here in Azalea Town, something that came to mind to me recently I felt would be nice to talk about, just the difference between the Kanto and Johto regions when it comes to how they revere Pokemon culturally. Because Kanto and Johto, despite being two regions that are so close together, they do have very distinct cultures that can be seen from the locations, as well as how people treat Pokemon between these areas. Because you could definitely infer the people of Johto typically revere Pokemon a lot more on a spiritual level compared to ones in Kanto and Johto. I'm waiting to see Slowpoke's moment of evolution. For observation, I made a new discovery. A Slowpoke with a King's Rock often gets bitten by a Shelder. Here, I'll share a King's Rock with you. So that is not a randomized item, we're getting a King's Rock here. it's gonna be like Slowpoke. I'll wait patiently so I can see one evolve. King's Rock is a pretty nice item. If you make your Pokemon hold it, it will allow that Pokemon to have a chance of making the opponent flinch when its attacks make contact on him. But it also has a nice secondary effect, and that is also an evolution item. If you equip that to a Slowpoke or to a Poliwhirl, and then trade them, those Pokemon will evolve into Slowking and Politoed respectively, which are both really good Pokemon in their own right. I think it's really cool in the Generation 2 games how they implemented a lot more Pokemon gaining alternate evolution lines for them. So you can have a choice to evolve a Pokemon either one way or the other, and I think both Slowking and Politoed do a good job of demonstrating that, as both those Pokemon play very distinctly compared to what you get from Slowbro or Poliwrath. Just a very nice way of handling evolutions being added in future generations. It's good stuff. Now there should be at least one more thing we can see down here in this well. Let's got this item ball over here, and if we can get over to it. Another fun quirk about this area, if you're playing vanilla Heart Gold and Soul Silver, you can actually run into Wild Slowbro down here without the need of having to evolve them beforehand. So yeah, if you want to add Slowbro to your team, it's definitely a good idea to wait until this point to grab one, because otherwise you'd have to grind a Slowpoke up to level 37 to evolve it. And no one wants that. But yeah, as I was saying before, the people in the Johto region, they seem to revere Pokemon a lot more than the ones in the Kanto region. Because whenever you're in the Kanto games and you talk to people, their usual reaction to Pokemon be like, this Pokemon is real strong and I like him. Or, I like this Pokemon because it's very cute. That's really not the case here in the Johto region, where you have a lot of areas where Pokemon are very important to the culture, and a lot of people revere them. Like, even here in Azalea Town, the Slowpoke here are seen as sacred because they helped end a drought in this region hundreds of years ago. And so, the Slowpoke population being abused by Team Rocket greatly upset the locals in this area. So you can definitely see a lot of that. We also have what we learned in Ecruteak City about the legendary Pokemon that are native to that area, as well as the Sprout Tower in Violet City, which was made to honor a giant Bellsprout that used to live in that area. So yeah, I just find it really cool just how much they added to the series by giving people a lot more reverence for these very awesome creatures. Alright, with that we should have everything we need in the Slowpoke well. So, Sahara, time to show off the secondary effect of Dig and get out of here! So, yep, very nice. And adding to the mythology of this area, that TM we picked up in the vanilla Heart Gold and Soul Silver would have been Rain Dance. So yep, it just fits in with the legends that are told in this area. Very good. Alright, before we head off to our next destination, I want to quickly make an adjustment to our team, because we're going to need a certain other HM user before we can progress. Nope, not going to that. I kind of wish the Moo Pokemon option was above the deposit option in the menu. Just makes things so much easier if it's like that. So, Walker, you can come with us for a little bit. We're not going to need strength, at this point. So we'll just bring Walker along and he can just hang out with the rest of the team for a bit. But yeah, we're not really going to need another HM user for a little bit. Mostly just so that we can clear up this path through Ilex Forest. Oop, I forgot to heal the center. Give me a sec. BRB. So yeah, how have things been for you guys? I've had a pretty good day today. It's mostly relaxing, and I'm just hanging out with some stuff. Had a pretty good lunch, went out to grab some Chinese food, and looked around some of the shops at the mall. So it was a nice little time there. Also went ahead and made a few more Pokeballs from Curd. So we definitely have a nice supply of these. That's been one of the things I want to do in between sessions, to make sure we have a good supply of our Apricorn balls. And thankfully we do have a good supply of them, so should definitely tide us over in the next couple of areas. Something else that I did in between sessions, just because we're past that level threshold, I thought it would be good to actually train up the Spearow we have in the box and evolve it into a Fearow, so that we can knock Fearow off our potential Pokemon encounter list. Just felt like that would be necessary. It's not like we're actually using that thing on our team anytime soon, as because of my very specific rules for this run, not allowing myself to use Pokemon that I previously brought to the Hall of Fame in my previous streams. And Fearow was one of my champions of my gold stream, so just wanted to knock him off the potential Pokemon encounters. Alright, so believe by surfing around here, there is a hidden item among the trees here. We got a nugget. And looks like there's something else around here. So I think normally some of the items in Ilex Forest might replenish over time. That's mostly stuff like mushrooms. So that could be the case here, maybe not. That was a hyper potion. Yeah, because items, of course, are randomized here. Seems like we might be done with items in this area for the time being, so we'll just move along. Of course, we got the typical surf encounters. Never really brought it up until now, but typically Pokemon that you'll encounter on the water are going to be higher level than some of the other Pokemon you normally encounter in the grass in some of these older areas. So it could be worth it to wait until grabbing Surf before coming here to grab your one and only encounter in these areas. But that also takes a lot of prep work in order to do, because you need repels in order to make sure that you don't encounter wild Pokemon in these areas. So yeah, I do think overall it's better just to grab them at the earliest chance you get and not wait for these kind of HM moves that add a lot more Pokemon to the encounters. Also, Goldeen, I think that is a pretty standard encounter for ponds in these areas. But as we have seen before, that is not what we're typically going to see in the water. Alright, so back out here on Route 34, there's definitely some stuff that we'll want to grab here. First, let's head to the PC and swap around some of our Pokemon. It's also kind of a shame I'm not really using the daycare here, because it is a good way to raise up some of your Pokemon if you do want to gain some levels with them. Yeah, what I wanted to grab is Scarab. We are not really going to have any need for Cut or Strength in the foreseeable future, so these two can just kind of hang back with the rest of our Pokemon. Also, just wanted to make sure Scarab and Sahara get some levels, because these two are some of our best fighters at this point. And gotta make sure they're leveled up for the challenge ahead, because if things go well, we should be getting into our next gym battle in this session. So that's gonna be fun. Alright, but now we got our nice blue beetle. It's time to once more hit the waves. So we're definitely going to get to a bit of an elusive spot here in round 34. This area also has a lot of interesting stuff for us we're going to see here. Oh, wow. Is this actually a pretty normal environment for a hippo to be, even though it's not quite the environment for this specific hippopotamus? Also just kind of funny that we encountered hippopotas both in the water and in the grass in this area. Neat. So around here, we can grab a dire hit. Is there anything else up here? A guard special. Man, we're just getting all the battle items here, aren't we? Alright, that's it for items around here for now. So let us move on. Oh, hello, Oddish. I do quite like the Oddish family a lot. And much like the aforementioned Slowpoke and Poliwhirl, they do also get branching evolutions down the line. Definitely a family Pokemon I really like. I haven't really used them that much recently. I think not since my most recent playthrough of Let's Go Pikachu. At least one of my playthroughs, I used the Oddish family, and they were good. Ooh, Driftblim. Now that is certainly a fancier foe here. And also kind of dangerous, because that thing's a flying type, and Scarab doesn't like those. Sparkles, you can handle this one. Especially because it'll give some good experience, because Sparkles is so close now. Just need 2 more levels, and then we're going to get our Big Lion, which will definitely be helpful for the next gym, I believe. Yeah, I'm definitely a little worried for some of the gyms in the foreseeable future. We do have a pretty strong team at this point, but I am a little worried because of what could be randomized onto our opponent's teams. Because the next gym we got, there's going to be a... Our next gym has 2 fully evolved Pokemon that make up his team, and that could give us some trouble if he gets 2 really strong Pokemon that we're not prepared for. It's kind of the risk when running these kind of randomizer runs. You never quite know what your opponents are going to get, and that could really bite you in the tuchus. But down here, we got some formidable trainers over here. Who are you? Who am I? Who are you? What are you doing? What are you doing here? Yep, we get forced into a double battle against Jen and Irene. Fun little quirk with these trainers here is that they all use water-type Pokemon, which I think is very fun. Sahara, you're not good against either of these, so I'll be a good switch-in. Feel like Dottie would probably be the best switch-in here. Either her or Sparkles. Alright, Cacnea goes down, but I know she's gonna have something much stronger. Because I'm very familiar with these trainers. Alright, Psyduck going for the Water Pulse. Yeah, that would have done a lot of damage to Sahara, so I'm glad I switched. Next up is Gliscor. Oh man, that is bad. Oh, this thing is a ground flying type. So yeah, remember when I said I was worried about what these two could use? Alright, what I'm gonna do, let's switch Scarab out for Snorkel. Then I'm gonna have Dottie fake out the Gliscor so that we can stun this thing, hopefully. So we need to get a good hit in against this thing. Okay. Alright. So I feel like a best bet just to go with the Bubble Beam on Gliscor. I would use Surf, but starting in Generation 4, Surf can also damage your allies in double battles. So that's why I'm going to hold off on that. Alright, then we're going to go for Solar Beam on Psyduck. Oh god, it has Fury Cutter. Whew. Okay, Fury Cutter actually has low power to start off, so very glad it only did that much damage to Dottie. That could have been really bad. I do know Fury Cutter got buffed in later generations, so ooh, that did not get the kill. Okay, Snorkel speed boost, that probably got it faster than Gliscor here. Just gotta go for the damage. Yeah, there we go! Woo! So hello, Javier, you came in at quite the hectic time here. God, I am so thankful that Snorkel has speed boost. That could have gone really bad. Oh, and the worst part is we still got another battle to do after these two. But it's okay, we should be able to heal up after this battle. That's good. And last one is Dusclops. Ugh, taunting me with what could have been. Okay, Snorkel, I don't need you out against this thing. So let's go to Scarab. You're gonna be pretty good here. And then, Dottie, go for payback. Yeah, our team compositions right now are quite interesting, aren't they? Yeah, Dusclops is a bit interesting. You got low HP, but both of your defensive stats are really good. So this thing can take our attacks pretty well. However, I'm not worried because Scarab has Scrappy. So, yeah, either if Dottie wasn't able to outspeed, which severely doubted, she's a fast bitch. Yeah, both our Pokemon would have easily been able to finish off the Dusclops. Oh, too strong! Hey, don't cut yourself short. That was a pretty formidable setup. I'll tell my sister about you! Better not laugh yet, my sister's really strong. Ethan, what are you doing? Ethan, how are you? So will Pokemon Center heal your Pokemon up for free? Yeah, I got it, man. Now, if you excuse me, I got a freeway with two ladies to get back to. What? I'm just describing what's happening right now. Oh, I should definitely grab some more refreshments when we get back to Goldenrod. Make sure our team is plenty healed for this. So we got one more fight over here, and it could potentially be pretty rough. Alright, Sahara, you lead us off here. He's got one more battle to do. I must pay you back for taking care of my sisters. So the third member of this family is Kate, leading with Electrike. Man, did I pick my lead good or what? So yeah, this one really shouldn't be no trouble at all. Sahara can easily handle this little electric wolf. Then what could you have next? A lot of formidable options, I can tell. We got Kingler. Okay. As for you, Sahara's definitely not going to be good. So we're going to have to go back to Sparkles on this one. Kingler, though, I am not going to underestimate. This thing is brutal. Has very high physical attack. But it's going for a special attack. Ugh, that speed drop's not very good. Just have to go for the spark and hope for the best. Ooh, Stomp. That could be bad. Oh yeah, the damage there was nasty. Okay, Kingler does have good physical defense, so not all surprised by that. Sparkles cannot take another hit from this thing, so I think it'd actually be fine if Dottie finished this thing off. She's definitely got plenty of bulk at her current level. Can weather this crustacean's attacks. Oh yeah, we should be good. Let's lead with a fake out. Just gauge the damage we're doing. Yeah, you know, just a payback should be able to finish you off. There we go. It's quite the formidable opponent, but nothing our team can't handle together. So good. No, I can't believe I lost! Believe it, baby. You're so strong. We lost with no excuses. Here, take this. We get a power herb by beating Kate. Sorry we jumped you. We never expected anyone to find us here. You sure startled us. So I believe that item would actually work well in tandem with one of her teammates. So the power herb. It's a consumable item that allows us to immediately use an attack that would normally take a turn to charge up. So if we get that to Dottie, that'll allow us to fire off a solar beam immediately without having to waiting a turn to charge. But like I said, it's a consumable item, and sadly this is not a generation where consumable items are replenished after battle, so yeah, nothing we can do with that. You and us, we might as well become friends. How'd you find this place? This our hideout. Well, at least we leave on good terms with these formidable ladies. Yeah, even in the vanilla games, those ladies could give you some trouble. Because I believe the aces they use are... So I believe they use Sea King, Starmie, and Cloyster, which are definitely all pretty formidable Pokemon. Nah, Sahara can handle you. Alright, so now that we got that taken care of, our next objective is get back to Goldenrod, because I definitely want to replenish our supply of healing items. We've been using up quite a few of our supplies since we were last in this area, so it'd be nice to refresh our resources. Plus, with the team being much stronger than we were last time, we can definitely splurge a little on some of the higher grade items. First, we'd have to get past all these Pokemon that are jumping us in the water. So while we're just kind of waiting to get back to town, what's some other stuff that we can talk about? So pretty recently, a video went out on AlphaRad's channel that I thought was pretty interesting. And where he had some people mod Pokemon Emerald in order to add like over 50 new types into the game. And making a lot of Pokemon just very... It was a very interesting experience, like totally changed up the dynamic you would expect of most Pokemon by giving them these all new types. and a lot of different strategies they would employ. And some of the typings are pretty fitting, but others were just kind of joke types. And then there were mean ones, like the ones that just make a Pokemon unclassified as ugly for no real reason. Like, that's mean. But, I don't know, it's still a very interesting video seeing, like, the team he built out of all these Pokemon with different types. And yeah, it was just very fun to watch, especially with some of the surprises that went on during the end game with some of the late game bosses in that challenge. So yeah, but definitely a very entertaining video. Definitely very fun. So I don't think that I'm gonna play that hack myself, just because it seems a little overwhelming to have to deal with all those different types, you know, but I know, still made for good content, at least for AlphaRad's brand. Alright, we're back in Goldenrod, let us heal up, because man, we took a beating in those battles. I think our team is pretty good here. Yeah, I definitely like the balance of our types we have right now. It's pretty typical to how I usually do a run of Pokemon games, where I usually try to have the trio of Grass, Fire, Water. I like to have an Electric type, and then just fill up the last 2 slots with whatever types would be very fitting with us for the journey. So for current setup, we definitely got a good team. Definitely able to cover a lot of different types. But even still, it'd be nice to make sure we are good and prepared for what's to come, because there are some nasty surprises in store for us. I can tell. Yeah, but for our current Pokemon now, we got a lot of guys that are past the level, past the threshold of like 80 to 70 HP. So I'm thinking now we can start spending money on lemonades, which are just such good resources that you'll definitely want to grab. Lemonade are pretty much one of the best healing items you can buy at this point in the game. They're very cheap, being much more affordable than... Oh, sorry about that. Being much more affordable than a super potion, while also healing way more HP. So, yeah, want to stock up on a lot of these. Like, just let me speed things up a bit. Okay, that should do it. So yeah, Lemonade restores 80 HP, which is just 20 HP short of the Moo Moo Milks that we're also able to buy at this point. Definitely a lot of good resources we have here, which also means that we no longer have any need of buying super potions. And of course, we also have a couple other things that we've stockpiled the last couple of days. TM 65. Not sure what that one is. Don't really know what that's going to be important to us. Alright, but now that we're stocked up on healing items for the road, it's time to move on. Alright, so considering what other areas we have to explore at this point, I think we are actually done with our Cirque Tour. There's a little bit of water on Route 35 we need to do, but the next couple areas, we don't really need to worry about water. So, yep, we're just about done here. Let's head back up this way to the route where the bad thing happened. Yep, just across this little pond here is where we want to surf. So doing so, we can get over here. And this little apricorn tree over here. So I believe if you're playing Gold, Silver, Crystal, there is a very special berry that you can get in this tree that is pretty elusive. So definitely want to grab that one when you can. Did you know Professor Oak traveled all over the world when he was young? While traveling, he must have learned about Pokemon naturally. I envy him. I like to travel and learn about things too. Yeah, that was alluded to a bit in the original Pokemon Red and Blue, that Oak used to be a trainer himself and definitely explored a lot and got to see a lot of different Pokemon. So it's nice to have a bit more of that established here. Also pretty fitting because the Johto era also added some pretty significant lore to Professor Oak in the anime. Aw, man. Just really love some of the stuff that was revealed regarding his character. Kind of a spoilers for an old movie, but the movie that centered around Celebi had a lot of good stuff involving Ash basically interacting with a young version of Professor Oak who got misplaced in time due to the intervention of Celebi. And it's very fun and seeing Ash get to hang out with this young version of a character that he's already well acquainted with. Just such a good time. I really love that movie. And it's also been some pretty nice time just reflecting on some of the stuff regarding the Pokemon anime now that the series involving Ash has officially concluded. And still definitely feeling a little forlorn about that, but, you know, it's just the way things are. Some days, things just have to end. But last couple of weeks, I've also been tuning into some videos made by, they're from a channel called Jordan Fringe, and he was talking a lot about the overall journey of Ash Ketchum throughout all of the different regions, as each video was divided up between the different regions that Ash got to explore, and talking in great detail about the stuff Ash managed to accomplish during each stage of his journey. And he finally finished that series by doing the latest and final part of Ash's journey, and definitely a nice vid to just kind of condense all that Ash managed to accomplish. Especially in regards to the final stage of the adventure, with him finally taking on the strongest trainer in the entire world and managing to actually best him. It was a good time. But with that all taken care of and said, we're now back in Olivine City, as we have a goal to take on. And that goal is to head to Cianwood. So in the last session, we paid a visit to the gym leader of Olivine City, who is Jasmine. She is unfortunately looking after a sick Pokemon at the lighthouse that is no longer able to do its job due to an illness. So our goal here is to head off and hopefully find a cure for it, which can only be acquired by going to the pharmacy located in Cianwood. This area. Yeah, we already have our Route 40 encounter. Eventually, we're going to get to Route 41, which will definitely open up some new opportunities for us. Yeah, I can definitely tell this is going to be an interesting point in our journey. Let us head off into the water. You have to warm up before going into the water. That's basic. Don't give me that trip line, you. Except got ourselves some new opponents out here in the waves. The Swimmer Trainer class typically will use Water-type Pokemon. However, this is not a typical Pokemon run, is it? A little worried here, but this thing is pretty low level compared to us. We should be able to handle it. Also, I don't really know if Execute get a whole lot of good moves by level up. Typically, I think they're not really the best when it comes to their level up moveset. Do need to be careful here, because there could be some pretty formidable opponents out on the waves. It's fine. Sahara gets a level up. Next up is... who's it gonna be? Magnemite! Alright, that's a pretty fitting encounter for us here. Just go for the dig, and we're done here. So I guess talk about some other stuff that's been going on. So I've been tuning into all of Chugga Conroy's Pokemon videos that he's been posting out lately. And definitely a lot of good stuff has been happening. He managed to get his last gym badge in his White 2 Let's Play. And is definitely getting into some of the heavier plot stuff as he's getting into, like, the end game of the whole Team Plasma plot line, which is definitely very interesting. Been really excited to eventually jump into the Generation 5 games myself on this channel. It's gonna take a while, but we'll eventually get there. And yeah, I've just been enjoying a lot of the stuff he's been posting recently. Especially one of the things that he did was actually catch the final team member that he was going to add to his team. Well, not really something that he had really planned on. It's more of something that the fans had challenged him on and said it was actually a good Pokemon and they wanted to see him actually give it justice. So that's actually quite fun to see. I definitely like it when a certain personality gets challenged for something they say, and then they have to try and prove the opposite viewpoint that they once had. It's definitely been making for a fun little part of Emil's Let's Play at the moment. Which definitely been fun, because I know the dude has been through a lot in the last couple of months, and it's just very nice to see him posting videos again and getting to share these wonderful experiences with us all. Because definitely is something I feel is very important for content creators, is to recognize that you are only human, but the experiences that you're able to share with people, they are very meaningful. Oh, that got really heavy. Anyway, we actually got 2 items in the same spot, believe it or not, there. So I believe if you're playing Vanilla, Arc Gold and Soul Silver, that's the TM for Pluck, which could be good if you're using a Pidgeotto or Fearow at this point in the adventure. Also want to try to clear up as many of these trainers as we can on our way to Cianwood, because our Pokemon still need a lot of experience for the next battle. The ace of the next gym leader is going to be Ferdy, so we definitely want to make sure our team is prepared for that. Because if the AI goes a certain way and our opponents get randomized a Pokemon that is really good at handling most of our Pokemon's types, then that can be really upsetting. I mean, we already kind of saw that with that Gliscor we encountered earlier, how that thing had an advantage against most of our Pokemon due to being ground flying. Yeah, we should be pretty good. There's a lot of trainers on our way to Cianwood, so definitely a lot of opportunities for us to battle. Cyndaquil! There's been a few Cyndaquil we've actually run into in this adventure, which a little saddened by because I really, really like Cyndaquil. Never got a chance to use one during my gold streams because I wanted to challenge myself and use statistically the weakest of the starter Pokemon in that game. Hey, you're young and fit. Don't ride your Pokemon swim! Thank you for complimenting my body, but also you on complimenting my body. Man, a Finneon with Intimidate, imagine that. I'm not even worried if this thing potentially has Gust. It's a Finneon, they're weak. Not even Intimidate could save you from the might of Scarab. Yeah, Pikachu, that's a nice little pick here. I'd also really like to catch a Pikachu, as that's not something that we have used in any of our stream series. And I mean, come on, eventually we do need to use the mascot of the entire fucking series. With that said, it is kind of nice to see how much Pikachu has become so synonymous with the Pokemon brand that even after the retirement of Ash and his Pikachu in the anime, the new anime series does have an important character who uses a Pikachu. And I believe there was an episode very recently that went into the backstory of when that particular character first met his Pikachu. And just from the clips that I've seen online, they've done a really good job of showcasing that this Pikachu is a distinct character from the one we've known for the past 25 years. So I think that's very nice that they were able to do that. Make these two creatures that are the same species, but have them be clearly distinct individuals. I really appreciate that. Oh, Chinchou. That one's a little tricky because this thing is a water-electric type. It only has two weaknesses, one that its typing naturally covers. So we're gonna go for Dottie to take care of you. Chinchou has also been a Pokemon I really wanted to use in one of our stream series, just because Water Electric is such a unique typing. You really don't see Pokemon with this typing outside of a certain little Poltergeist introduced in a later generation. And yeah, just overall a solid Pokemon. Got pretty decent stats across the board, with mostly an emphasis on its HP, meaning that it can do some good damage to opponents and last quite a while before going down. Definitely one I've used in a lot of teams in the past, and I'd love to use one eventually in a stream. Alright, down here, Route 41. It's an area that we've heard a little bit about because of the very important landmarks in this area. Because Route 41 is home to the Whirl Islands, a series of areas that are very important here in the lore of the Johto region. And we heard a little bit about the folklore involving this area from one of the NPCs in Olivine, how he said that naughty children were brought to the Whirl Islands as punishment back in the day. Typhlosion? Whoa! That's a fully evolved starter Pokemon that we're fighting. Okay, we're almost twice this thing's level, so we should be able to handle you. Yeah, something you're gonna see as we're going through the Johto region, the levels on trainers are pretty inconsistent around this point of the game, which I could definitely see as being a knock against the Generation 2 games and the remakes even. In that, Heart Gold and Soul Silver really don't do much in order to change the difficulty when it comes to the levels on the trainers you're encountering. They'll sometimes add some new battles throughout this area, as we saw with those two beauties we encountered before Ecruteak, or the Team Rocket Grunt we battled in Ecruteak. But for the most part, a lot of the trainers are still unchanged from how they were in the original games, which could be seen as a bit of a downside. I mean, it isn't too bad, because Pokemon still got a lot of upgrades in between the generations. So I definitely feel like there is a bit more of a challenge to them in this version. It's just that the levels aren't changed in order to match. But yep, this is why this area is called the Whirl Islands. There are some whirlpools around here that we cannot get past. So want to save going through these areas for a little bit later. Also like this aspect of the Whirl Islands, just in terms of the visuals with the remakes here, because in the original Gold and Silver, the whirlpools were just one-tile, puny little things that barely looked intimidating. Here, though, in the remakes, they're definitely a lot more intimidating just with how large they are compared to our little character sprites. Alright, this thing has Arena Trap or Shadow Tag. Ugh, curse you! The downside to playing in set mode. It's alright, we should be able to knock this Snow Run out with this dig. These fangs really aren't all that defensive. There we go. Good work, Sahara. And next up is Quagsire. A personal favorite of mine being the evolution of Wooper. Oh, you have Drought. You, my friend, have just sealed your doom. Because this thing used Drought, that means that there is sunny weather out, which means that Dottie can hit you right away with Solar Beam! As if this thing already didn't have a major weakness to Grass, you sealed your fate by making us able to use our most powerful move against you instantly. Rest in spaghetti, never forgetty. Supposed to be a big Pokemon deep beneath the Whirl Islands. I wonder what it could be. I wonder too. We heard a little bit about some of the other legendary Pokemon in this area, but we're gonna have to wait a while before we can encounter something like that. There are also some hidden items around here. However, I think that we're only going to encounter hidden items if we go on the islands themselves. And unfortunately, with our current setup, we're not going to be able to get those items right now. Venonat. Okay, this is a new area, so this is our new catch. Not exactly thrilled by this. Never been a big fan of the Venonat line. I mean, they're kind of cute in a little fuzzy bug kind of way. And they are interesting because it's a bug poison type that naturally learns quite a few psychic type moves. But yeah, I've never really been that big of a fan of this guy. It's got a little poisonous bug. I'm gonna give you a not so poisonous name. Natalie. At the very least, that knocks Natalie off our potential encounters list. I already got one heck of a bug already, so we don't need more. Ooh, what else do we got here? Are you kidding me? I could have gotten a Kabuto! Alright, downside to this thing is that it doesn't evolve until level 40. But it's a fossil Pokemon, and I really like the novelty of catching fossil Pokemon during randomizer runs. Oh man, that is such BS luck. That would have been so cool, especially after we caught that Cranidos in the last session. Are you seeking the secrets of the Whirl Islands? Not right now, bud. I can't even enter the place. What do you got, Matthew? Aw, Mine Jr. That's a way to worm your way into my heart. I quite like Mine Jr. as well as the rest of its family. In fact, I did use a Mr. Mime during my LeafGreen streams. Which means that sadly I can't use this line during this playthrough. But hey, what you gonna do? Ooh, you got great endurance. Thanks, dude. Secret about the Whirl Islands. It's pitch black inside. Yeah, so we're gonna have to grab another flash TM before we come back to this area eventually. It's gonna be a while before we're actually gonna need to explore this area, so don't have to worry too much about that. Whoa! Exploud! That's a fully evolved normal type Pokemon we could have ran into here. Okay, so the reason we're running into this thing in this area is because in the vanilla games, you're able to encounter Tentacruel just out here in the wild. Way lower level than you're supposed to get them. So yeah, that's why we're encountering this beefcake of a Pokemon right now. Well, if nothing else, this will give us good experience. This whole area, especially in the vanilla games, is definitely an area I could recommend training in. Because you'll mostly encounter Tentacool and Tentacruel around here, and they do give good experience, so it could be very worth it. Oh, you traced huge power from this Venonat. This thing is screwed. Good work. See, I've got a couple battles we still have to do around the Whirl Islands, so we're just gonna do a few circles around this area in order to encounter everything we can in this area before we finally head off to the town, which is very close by, so we don't have to worry about that too much. So what's some other stuff that we can talk about while we're just clearing up this area? So pretty recently, today, during and after my lunch, I felt it'd be nice just to watch some of the Family Guy DVDs that I received on my birthday last month. Just because it's a show I really haven't been spending a lot of time or investment into watching lately. For the record, I got gifted the Season 1, 2, and 3 box sets for that show, so like none of the really new stuff. Which, fine by me, I mostly prefer the old Family Guy content. And yeah, I know like the typical thing these days is to trash on Family Guy and how the series has sort of regressed when it came to its writing and its characters and stuff. But if you ask me, the older Family Guy seasons, they still hold up pretty well, all things considered. Like, it's not Simpsons quality writing, but a lot of the older seasons of the shows, they're still very funny, and I do think that there is a bit of heart given into the characters in the older days. And just a lot of things back then, they just felt like they were a lot more focused with what they wanted to do with these characters. Like Peter just being a lovable oaf who loves a lot of pop culture media, with Brian being a very sophisticated and classy character despite also being a dog. Stewie just being this sociopathic little bastard who's hell-bent on world domination. Just really like the characters in the early days before they just regressed into what they are now. But wouldn't say that modern Family Guy is awful. Like, every now and then I would watch the odd clip from the newer seasons, and just getting to see a little bit of them without having to invest a lot of time into watching a full episode, I think they hold up pretty well. Well, at least I think some of the jokes do. Because there have been quite a few jokes that I do kind of chuckle at every now and then in the newer material. But yeah, I still have a lot of reverence for the older Family Guy seasons. I think it's legitimately a very fun show. And while it's certainly a bit weaker in terms of its writing and animation than The Simpsons, I still feel like it does a good job with what it does. Like, it's certainly a bit wackier than The Simpsons with a lot of the stuff they do. I mean, like, there's a reason that Family Guy is seen as, like, the patron saint of cutaway gags and all that, which definitely makes up a good chunk of the show's humor. But yeah, been enjoying this little revisit to this show I still care about a lot. The waves are wild here. They tire you out as you swim. Yeah, I can definitely feel that. It's been a while since the last time I seriously swam. Oh, hello there, Cradily. I'm honestly not that worried about this thing because we have Sun out, and we are several levels higher than this thing. Yeah, we should be good. Okay, it's got acid, and that's a little unfortunate, but we should be good. Low damage roll there, but it's okay. One more punch will finish you off. Ah, man. Cradely's definitely a Pokemon I can't really look at normally the way I used to. Ever since Salty DK Dan's Friendlock videos, just Cradily is instantly just turned into Pete Ness in my mind. God, just what a wild character for that. Ooh, Heracross. This thing could be nasty. I think we are good here. The Flame Wheel should do some good damage. And I don't think it's gonna do anything really nasty. Yep, there we go. Good stuff. You actually had two very strong Pokemon, dude. Currents keep me from reaching that island. God, someone was trying to call me, but I didn't see who it was. That's a pity. As I always feel bad when I think about potentially missing out on one of those trainers who could potentially give me an evolution stone, and me just missing out my chance to grab one early. I mean, it's not a big deal. We can always buy the evolution stones at the Pokeflon, so it's really not that big of a deal. God, I really just love the visuals of when you're out surfing and the sky turns this sunset effect. Just very pretty. The water turns all red. The sky takes on an orange hue. Just gorgeous. Really shows the quality of the Gen 4 games when it came to their visuals. Like, I know these games have definitely aged quite a bit when it comes to their visual presentation, especially compared to the Generation 5 games, which definitely push what you could do on the DS to their limit. But I definitely feel that Heart Gold and Soul Silver are still very good-looking games on this system. Definitely one of the aspects of these remakes that hold up a lot. Goribus! Ooh, that is an interesting Pokemon. Especially because it's one I don't really see used that often because of its specific evolution method. But we should be good here. I think it's a strong special attacker, but yeah, we can handle this. So long, Goribus. Return to obscurity from whence you came. Oh, you have more energy than I do. Well, thank you for that. I heard roars from deep inside the islands. So something ferocious is still living in this area. And we've heard a lot of folklore about this area from several people already. Wonder what that could be referring to. Yeah, it definitely feels these days, just kind of going back to that comment regarding Salty, a lot of Pokemon these days I start to associate a lot more with specific people in some of the content they produce. I could definitely feel that with Cradily, we're associated with a character from Salty streams. Recently I've started to associate Whimsicott a lot more with Alpharad, since he apparently has a big affinity for Whimsicott. And that just sort of kind of translated into me in a lot of ways. and also just some of the Pokemon that I have gotten to get acquainted with through some of the other things I've done with some other people, and also gotten to see from some of their other works. Especially among the Discord servers I'm in. Both the Maryland server as well as the Comic Burrow server have definitely shifted my perception of certain Pokemon a lot of ways. I do think it's pretty interesting to see one's perspective and opinions on something evolve over time, and just kind of being aware of that perspective change. Definitely think it's something that makes us a lot more human in a way. Alright, Scarab is now 28. That's good. Because we got some guys who really need to train up. Yeah, definitely for the next couple of fights, definitely want to focus on Sparkles. Because we're so close to getting something I want. So I definitely want to achieve that before we go into the next gym battle. Which, hopefully we should have plenty of battles we can still do before then. There's definitely a few trainers we still need to clear out on this route. And as well, we're still encountering some wild Pokemon out here. Especially some that could give a good amount to us. At night, Staryu gather near the water's surface. That is another little bit of lore that we're getting from this trainer. Ooh, Shedinja! I don't think I've gotten a chance to talk about this specific Pokemon yet. So Shedinja, this thing's whole gimmick. Let's say we want to attack that with Bubble Beam. Shedinja avoided damage by using Wonder Guard. Shedinja is a very unique Pokemon. This thing, for its entire lifespan, will always have exactly one hit point. However, its Wonder Guard ability prevents this Pokemon from receiving damage except to super effective attacks, as well as weather and status ailments and entry hazards, but typically the way you're damaging this thing is to specifically use attacks that are weak to this thing. Thankfully, it's also a bug ghost type, so odds are you're gonna have a type that is able to affect this thing. Under normal circumstances, Shedinja's not that bad, but if you're in a Nuzlocke setting where your Pokemon options are very limited, and the different types of Pokemon you're able to use are spread out throughout the different areas and what you are able to roll with your encounters, there could potentially be a point where a Shedinja is just able to completely wall your team because they can't do any damage to it. I mean, there are other ways to mitigate that, but for the most part, that is a risk that comes when doing these kind of randomizer challenges. You don't really need to worry about that too much in single player, and especially in the vanilla games, because Shedinja is typically a Pokemon you're not going to see on trainer teams. Usually one you have to go out of your way to actually catch. But yeah, when that thing does show up on a trainer's team, it could be nasty. Especially because you do not have the ability to run away from trainers in this generation. But knew there were a couple more trainers up here we can fight. We're very close to town now, but I just want to clear up the last couple of trainers we can see here on Route 41. Let's make sure we're all prepared for what's going to go down, because there are some pretty formidable fights ahead. Hey, buddy. How's the water? I'm a bit tired. If I win, lend me your Pokemon. No! Also, since the main thing with using Surf is that you're riding on your Pokemon in order to cross the water, just want to bring attention to the fact that our surfing Pokemon is Snorkel, this little horse, little fish thing. So yeah, just love the mental image of us just hanging on to the little swirl at the end of Snorkel's tail, as we're actually just totally submerged in the water with just our head poking out. Oh, we're just hanging on to this little thing, just... it's an amusing little mental image I have. How dare you! Bulbasaur, I love you! How could you do this to me? Everything I did for you! Drifloon. Not too worried about that. There we go. Oh man, we still got another Pokemon to face here. Oh geez, this guy's a full team. Okay, Lombre. What do we want to do for you? Scarab can handle you. Yeah, was not expecting this guy to have a full team. Oh, I forget. Is this one of those trainers who, like, use a full team of Magikarp? Because that's a little annoying. I mean, this guy's actually had some pretty decent Pokemon here, so... I guess not. Maybe it's a full team of Tentacruel or something, I don't know. Anoref. That is interesting because you're a bug rock type, but we should be good. Yep. Ancient Bug was no match for our modern Bug. And last is Coughing. A little worried about that. Let's go to Sahara. Sorry, I just get very defensive when I see a Coughing because I know what these things can do. And I'd very much like it to not do the thing they are known to do. Alright, that should be everything. Yep. I actually had a pretty big team. Kind of shocking to see a trainer use that many Pokemon. Usually, typically, you'll only see the champion of whatever region you're fighting, as well as your rival using 6 Pokemon on their team. Though there are a few exceptions. Notably, something I really like in Scarlet and Violet is that there are many important battles throughout the game where your opponent will be using 6 Pokemon. Like, so many of the endgame bosses from the various storylines will typically have a team of 6 Pokemon, and they are typically pretty strong. And that also holds true for the recent DLC, where, oh boy, there was a particular fight in the endgame of that DLC that was definitely formidable. Mostly because of the mood of that fight, and how that character in particular was basically going through a mental breakdown because of their experiences with you. I don't want to go too much into that because it is pretty important character spoilers for someone who we haven't even seen their full story unfold. With that said, I'm pretty interested to see how they're going to follow up to that in the Indigo Disc portion of the DLC, because, oh man, with what has already happened with this character, we cannot expect anything good to happen. You look so elegant riding your Pokemon. Lady, I am literally hanging on to this tiny seahorse for dear life. Help me! Or send your gastrointestinal tract to fight me. Sure, whatever. Alright, one more battle should level up Snorkel here. And yep, Glameow. That's an easy fight here. I'm crushed. Hi, crushed. I'm Dad. Or Mom, cause, now whatever. Oh, we got 2 calls from our mother practically in a row. That is quite unique. That usually doesn't happen. She's probably just gonna give us more berries. Can't really see her giving us any other important items at the moment. Given what she has already gifted to us, I'm not exactly sure how many of the exclusive items she still has to give us. Eventually, when she's given us all the unique items she has, she'll eventually just start giving us the type-resistant berries. In which case, I'll probably try to see if I can get a few of those before deciding to eventually call off saving money with her. Just because it's not going to be that useful eventually. Woo! Toxicroak! That is quite the formidable opponent here. Sparkle should be fine. Yeah, that thing could definitely be pretty formidable. It's very fast and very strong on both physical and special stats, which you no doubt expect from this thing. And it's also a poison fighting type, which is a pretty elusive type combination. You don't really see that often. But we should be good. Very nice. Alright, we are just about to head into town here, so I think we are good. Alright, Sparkles, you're level 29. I'm going to keep you in the lead, just to make sure we get it. Yep, here we are, Cianwood City. This has been our main destination for this little side quest, as well as our Pokemon Gym Badge journey. So let's heal up the team here. Thank you for that. So we got quite a bit to see around here. The Pokemon of this gym are all rough and tough. They could blow me away in a second. Let me give you a piece of advice. The gym leader uses fighting-type Pokemon. You could try to fool them with Psychic-type Pokemon, or simply defeat them before they can demonstrate their power. By the way, Chuck the gym leader is into his waterfall training. He won't be able to hear you unless you somehow stop the pounding water. We didn't hear anything involving Chuck and water back in Gold and Silver. Might want to look into that. Now first, before we venture out and see what Cianwood has to offer, I want to make sure we have space in our party for something that we are going to be doing here. Yeah, we will eventually get our Cianwood catch here, but first, there's something else to handle. There are several islands between here and Olivine. A mythical sea creature supposedly lives there. Cianwood City Pharmacy. 500 years of tradition. We await your medical queries. This is the pharmacy we heard so much about. Huh? You need medicine? Your Pokemon appear to be fine. Is something worrying you? The lighthouse Pokemon's in trouble? I got it. This ought to do the trick. We received the secret potion. My secret potion's a tad too strong. I only offer it in an emergency. The secret potion here is gonna be pretty important to us going forward. Sadly, it's not an item we can actually use on our Pokemon to heal them of any ailments. But, you know, baby steps. With that, we can head back to Olivine and give the medicine to Jasmine. But let's look around town a bit more. Chuck, the gym leader, spars with his fighting-type Pokemon. Hey, anyone that is able to stand up against attacks to a Poliwrath and a Primate, you got my respect. I'm in shock. A guy about your age with piercing eyes and long hair came in. He scared me into giving him my prized Pokemon. I still have one left, but what if he comes back? You look strong. Could you look after my Pokemon for a while? Sure thing. Oh, thank you. Take good care of it. Please. Receive? I just saw it came up on the Pokelink. Oh my god. So, yep, our prize for talking to this guy is Shucky the Wooper. Well, we can evolve that immediately into a Quagsire, so I'll take it. That's a good Pokemon. So, yep, normally this guy gives you a Shuckle. However, because I have randomized all Pokemon encounters, he has instead given us this little thing. So, yep, that is also a gift Pokemon. So, we are still able to catch something here in Cianwood City, which we shall take care of right away. First, let me swap you out for Snorkel. That is still a good encounter. We have not used Wooper in any of our streams at this point. And that could be a really good teammate. Quagsire definitely up there as one of my favorites in the entire series. Alright, let's take a nice, relaxing time just fishing here and seeing what we can get. Love the atmosphere in Cianwood, too. This area is a very remote island and across the sea from most of the Johto region, and the atmosphere pretty much reflects it perfectly, being a lot more reserved and quaint. It's very nice. Love the atmosphere here. But yeah, going into what we've encountered right now, Shieldon. This is actually the version counterpart to the Cranidos we encountered in the last session. While Cranidos is all about power, Shieldon is all about defense. And this thing, oof, I'm worried about this thing potentially having a move that could deal recoil damage to itself. So we gotta catch you quickly. I said we gotta catch you quickly. At the very least, it's not doing anything bad right now. Shieldon could be pretty useful in a Nuzlocke run. It's a rock steel type with really high defensive stats, making it just really good to use to stall opponents out while you try to heal up your team. Or just wear down your opponents while Shieldon is able to dish in some decent damage. Again, offense is not its strong suit, but its typing does allow it to be able to use some strategies that you wouldn't see from most other Pokemon. It's purely a wall, but it does have some nice offensive applications, especially once it eventually gets Metal Burst, which is basically like counter, except it affects both physical and special attacks that hit it. Yep, there we go, we got ourselves a Shieldon. Alright, so what are we gonna name you? Kind of a simple name, I was thinking. Sarah. Oh man, that was pretty good. We actually managed to catch another fossil Pokemon. I didn't really get a good look at what your ability is, so it's be nice to gauge what you could get. You have Hustle and a Lonely Nature. That is a double boost to your physical attack. That could be worth considering later down the line. And also, both this and Cranidos both evolve at level 30. So, you're not too far off of being able to train these two up into some pretty formidable Pokemon for your team. Yeah, but I might want to consider training those guys up. Alright, now we got that taken care of, let's look around town a bit more. So we still have a lot to see here. I heard you can only see it if you have a silver wing. It must have the same sense as the creature. You came from Olivine. Do you remember the 4 islands along the way? I heard that a mythical sea creature is hiding in them. I've heard the whirlpools around the island are caused by the sea creature. You might need a special move to get past them. Learning a lot more about this area and what exactly is going to be hiding here. You crossed the sea to get here. That must have been hard. It'd be much easier if your Pokemon knew how to fly. But you can't use fly without this city's gym badge. If you beat the gym leader here, come see me. I'll have a nice gift for you. So as you can no doubt tell, we got some incentive for beating the gym here. Hi, you must be a sightseer. Why not take a picture here? Saw the camera outside, I put it there. You may come across my relatives here and there. Anyway, go ahead and take a picture. Check the camera, it'll take a picture for you. A good memory of your journey with your Pokemon. Maybe I'll take a picture in a little bit. If you use Fly, you can get back to Olivine instantly. So we have heard. Boulders to the north of town can be crushed. They may be hiding something. Pokemon could use Rock Smash to break them. Yep, we could. We could always find some things here. So here we got the Cliff Edge Gate. Did you know they're constructing a safari zone just around the corner? Sorry. Oh boy. Oh, that sounded nasty. Ugh. Well, that just happened. This will be real fun. You'll see many different kinds of Pokemon, it's all you can catch. There's no reason not to go, right? So looking forward to the Safari Zone. Finish the construction already! What, you want to go to the Safari Zone too? It's still under construction. Please come back later. I appreciate that everybody's looking forward to it, but the lady at the reception seems a bit too dramatic. Don't get your expectations too high. En contraire, sir, I know what's ahead and I am excited. But yeah, we heard a little bit about a safari zone being built here in the Johto region before, and it seems like this is where it's going to be set up here in Cianwood. But we're not able to do anything with that for the time being, so... Oh, look who's over there! Look what's over here. Past a rock that we can't break right now with our current team. I'll go check on that a bit later. If we head in here, though, I don't remember the last time someone came to visit me. When I was young, I was a Pokemon trainer too. I tried to reach the tower and dive into the ocean. I put a lot of effort into many things. Well, I take things easy now, listening to the waves and wing ends on this beach. Got someone mentioning a tower and diving into the waves. Want to remember that for a bit later in our journey. And by later, I mean really late. But let's go check on this legendary Pokemon. Hey, bud. And there he goes. Yo, July! Wasn't that Suicune just now? I only caught a quick glimpse, but I thought I saw Suicune running on the waves. Suicune is beautiful and grand, and it races through towns and roads as simply awesome speeds. It's wonderful. I want to see Suicune up close. I've decided. I'll battle you as a trainer to earn Suicune's respect. Come on, July, let's battle now! So we're finally getting into some more Crystal exclusive content here, as we're facing Mystery Man UC. Oh, he's got Totodile, one of the typical Johto region starters. Pretty fitting here, actually. I'm a little worried about this guy because he does have some pretty strong Pokemon in his vanilla team. And I don't know for certain what he's going to have here. Alright, but that's taken care of. Next is Kingler. Okay, we faced a Kingler before. We know how to deal with you. Pretty hard hit there, but Sparkles can take this. Yeah, one more hit should do it. Yeah, and it's paralyzed. So that should allow us to outspeed and get the KO. Woo! That was a very well-timed status ailment, allowing us to take this Kingler out before it could do any more damage. Ah, so good, and we're so close already. And finally, Prinplup. Okay, it's oddly fitting that Yucine is using exclusively water Pokemon, considering that the Pokemon that has attention is also a water type. Randomizer, I see what you're doing here. That is very clever. And with that, Sparkles reaches level 30. I hate to admit it, but you win. Get a nice supply of money from that, and Sparkles is evolving. Oh, I've been so excited for this. Sparkles has evolved into Luxray. Very excited to have this fully evolved lion now. You're amazing, July. Starting to understand why Suicune was keeping an eye on you. I'm gonna keep searching for Suicune. I have a feeling we'll see each other again. See you around. And we got another call from our mother. Oh, hi, July, how are you? Any useful item will shop is above your money, sorry. Sadly, there is no Pokemart on Cianwood, so we unfortunately can't check on what our mother has given us right now. But, oh, look at her. And look at those stats here. Some good stuff. And Airlock. That's the signature ability of Rayquaza. What is that doing on Sparkles? But yeah, as you can tell here, this is a pretty strong Pokemon we got now. Oh man, I'm really glad to have you right now, Sparkles. This is real good. Now we got ourselves our big beefy lion. I think we're ready to take on the gym. We definitely got some pretty formidable opponents coming up, but with this current party, I think we're going to be good. Alright, let's heal up to the Pokemon Center, then we'll challenge the Cianwood Gym. Alright. It's definitely going to be one of the tougher battles that we have faced on this journey. But I think we're ready. So just as the man at the center said, he's so into his training he doesn't seem to notice you. So yep, the puzzle here has definitely changed compared to how things were back in the original games. Instead of having to face a gauntlet of trainers and then some strength puzzles, we have to work our way through a kind of a little maze here in order to get to the end and figure out how to stop the waterfall. Honestly, this is not bad of a puzzle. We do have quite a few formidable battles here, but we should be good. Celio here is pretty fitting given that this is an area close to the sea. Really don't know what to expect here. A lot of the trainers here use some really strong Pokemon, so it's very likely that we're going to encounter a lot of rough fights here. Yoshi wasn't too bad, though. Go back to being a dinosaur in an egg. You seem to have a strong bond with your Pokemon too. Thank you! I quite enjoy having Scarab with us. We can see a switch over there, but uh-oh. Words are useless. Let your fists do the talking! Yep, because that guy has spotted us, he blocked off the path. Black Belt Knob! Yeah, I don't know what it is, but there's kind of a trend in the Pokemon series how there'll just be a black belt with the name Knob. I do not know why this is a running joke in the series, but I'm not complaining. It's a funny one. Okay, Horsey. Oh, that is nasty. That thing having speed boost along with learning agility? That boosted its speed by 3 stages in one turn. Not like it's gonna help it that much, because we got Solar Beam. Okay, we do have to whether like one more attack, probably, before getting this attack in. But it's nothing we can... You really just spent this whole time just buffing your stats without trying to actually do damage. You deserve this. So long, Buster. And next is Weepin' Bell. That thing is poison, so that'd be really bad for Dot. Son, you can take this one out. Weepin' Bell's always been one of those Pokemon I felt was very doofy looking, and it still is after all this time. Just a goofy little plant. I did use the Bellsprout family during my LeafGreen streams, and definitely had a lot of fun with them. They're pretty strong Pokemon, all things considered. That takes care of that guy, giving us a level up on Sun. He's learning Torment. That could be useful. I don't see Leer being that useful to us, so we'll go ahead and forget that. Torment could be helpful as that prevents our opponent from using the same move twice in a row. That could be very helpful if our opponent is trying to use strategies like Fury Cutter. I lost. I'm speechless. Not speechless enough, clearly. Okay, Son, we need to heal that paralysis. We could always go to the Pokemon Center, but nah, we're good. I'm gonna clear up all the trainers in here before we prepare ourselves for our gym battle. So yeah, now that the path has been blocked by this knob, we're gonna have to go over to this side. If we go up this way, it's gonna block the path again. We martial artists fear nothing! Except for birds, and psychics, and fairies. Lao! You share the name with a character from Xenoblade Chronicles X. And he's got an Altaria. That is pretty fearsome. Surrounding itself in mist. Hopefully that shouldn't affect what I'm doing here. Gonna try and put you to sleep, and then we'll see what we can do. This thing is formidable because it's a dragon and flying type. There's really not much that my team can do to do some serious damage to this thing, so we'll just hit it really hard. Come on, we almost got you. A high damage roll could finish it here. Nope. Alright, one more hit should do it. Oh, come on! Okay, Sahara, you did your job. Let's go to Snorkel. Maybe you can handle this. I do know we have a dragon move with you, and potentially we should be able to outspeed this thing thanks to, well, yep, we outspeed it anyway. Thank you, Snorkel. That should do some good damage. Yep. Takes out Altaria. Very good. That's shocking! I didn't use any electric Pokemon during that. Alright, we got someone asleep, so let's wake you up. We don't have to fight that guy up there, but I want experience. My Raging Fist will shatter your Pokemon! Black Belt Lung. You're gonna need a new one after I'm done with you. Alright, Paris. This should be pretty easy to handle. Just go for a headbutt. Not too worried about this thing potentially using stab moves on us, cause, well, it's a Paris. Not much this thing's really gonna do to us. Alright, we are poisoned, but no big deal. Sahara is very bulky. We definitely got this. Okay, where's the real battle? Next up is Shiftry. Using my own Pokemon against me. How dare you? I don't believe this thing has a grass move we don't need to worry about, but even still, let's switch. Oh, how dare you? I guess I should have let... Come on. I don't want to use my hippopotamus against a Shiftry. Let me use my beetle to... Stop it. Stop it. We really don't have anything good for you. You know what? You're being a butt, and I don't want to deal with Whirlwind right now. Let's just go for Spark. Damn! Look at that critical hit! And a paralysis on top of it. Oh, you, sir, are royally screwed. Get dunked on! Yep, that was underwhelming. You kidding me? Your final Pokemon is a Hippopotas. You know what? Two could play at that game. Go Dottie. How do you like this matchup, sir? Looks very familiar, doesn't it? Alright, one more Solar Beam should take you out, and then we're pretty much done here. Oh, come on! You're going for that now? That is mean, sir. Okay, don't want to risk that doing that again, so just go for payback and see what happens. Okay, now you're not doing it, meanie. Not exactly the outcome I was expecting, but the battle's over. Screw you. I got shattered. Just like Pink Diamond. My Pokemon lost. My pride is shattered. Just like Jasper. Okay, some of our Pokemon are a little underleveled for this, but I'm thinking we should be able to pull through here. Let us get the team healed up, and we should be good to go. Okay, and Dottie can take a lemonade. Okay. Of how our current team is, we should be pretty good here. I do not know what we can expect from Chuck's Pokemon, but we have a pretty solid team here. We cover a wide variety of types. We should be able to handle what's to come. Despite the fact that I know for a fact both of his Pokemon are going to be very powerful. Just want to make sure we do not lose any progress on this. So you never know what could happen. Alright. Before we jump into this right now, some things I want to do first. We still have some citrus berries, so let's pass them around. And everyone else is good with their elemental items to boost the power of your attacks. Okay, we should be good to go. Ooh, the pounding waterfall right onto my head. Ah, why'd you stop the waterfall from pouring on me? You just spoiled my training. I have to warn you that I'm a strong trainer, training every day under this waterfall. What? It has nothing to do with Pokemon? That's true. Come on, we shall do battle. Don't really know if that gave the results you expected, dude. But here we are, facing off against Chuck. Leading with a Gengar. Ooh, that could be nasty. Okay, we traced Insomnia, so we don't have to worry about this thing doing a nasty thing to us. But there are other nasty things this thing could do, like Sucker Punch. Alright, that's not too bad. Your physical attack isn't that strong, so don't have to worry about that. Gonna go for the dig, because I know you don't have Levitate. I should do some serious damage to you. Gengar's pretty low HP and defense, so just barely didn't cut it. Okay, this time we're going to soften you up with Bite, and then we'll go for the dig. Whoa. Wow, lucky critical hit with Bite. Never mind, we'll just go for this. Alright, we took a few hits from that thing, but that went pretty smoothly. Alright, what's next? Alright, level up on Sahara. I'll take it. Some extra stats are good. And Flareon. We haven't lost yet! This is the second time we've seen Flareon as the ace on a gym leader's team. Needless to say, I'm a little disappointed. Okay, you shouldn't be too bad. As long as this sand attack doesn't cause us to whiff this attack, we should be good. Alright, we almost got you. So one more hit should do it. No, not yet! So to kind of go into what Chuck's all about in the main games, his strategy is using his Poliwrath in order to put you to sleep with Hypnosis, and then he would typically try to use one of two different attacks against you. In the vanilla Gold and Silver games, he would try to use the move Dynamic Punch, which does damage and also confuse opponents. In Heart Gold and Soul Silver, he uses the move Focus Punch, an attack that would normally take a turn to charge up, and if the attacker gets hit before it can land the Focus Punch, then the attack gets nullified. So that's kind of his whole deal. I lost. How about that? Alright, you're worthy of the Storm Badge. And with a pretty easy battle without needing any switching, Sahara takes home the gold. The Storm Badge lets your Pokemon fly to any city or town you've already been to. Here, take this too. TM1, the aforementioned Focus Punch. That is Focus Punch. It doesn't land if the foe you're attacking hits you first. It's very powerful if it manages to hit. Thanks for that, bud. I enjoyed battling you, but a loss is a loss. From now on, I'm gonna train 24 hours a day. Here's a tip, sir. Use fighting Pokemon. Yeah, not gonna lie, that was kind of a disappointing battle. Just way too easy. That's Cianwood's gym badge. Then you should take this HM. As it was heavily hinted at, we get HM2. Teach fly to your Pokemon. You'll be able to fly instantly to anywhere you have visited. That's definitely good for us, considering what we're going to be able to do now. So, before we end off this session, we got ourselves a brand new HM that we're able to use, and we got the medicine we need to give to the Ampharos back in Olivine City. So, how about we take care of that now? So in order to use Fly, we're going to need to have a specific Pokemon in our party. Obviously, it's going to be a Pokemon that is able to fly, specifically one that has powerful wings. So for that, we're going to take Cookie and put you into the team. It's probably not going to be a big priority, but now that we have a Pokemon that's able to use Fly, I'm probably going to train up Cookie in between stream sessions so that he'll be on par with the rest of the party, just in case I need his flying abilities readily on hand for us. Not going to be too important in the future, but should still be pretty useful. Alright, considering your current set, yeah, we're gonna have no need for Gust. Not with that very low special attack stat. So yep, we got Fly on Cookie. And now our little pigeon, you're able to fly. So the deal with Fly is that it is able to take us to any town or city that we have previously visited, making it really good for being able to traverse the map very quickly. It is just a very good utility move, as well as being a pretty decent damaging move. It takes a turn to be able to use, kind of like Solar Beam, but the catch is that when your Pokemon is flying, your opponent is unable to strike it unless they have a specific move or ability that allows them to target them. It's a pretty good move that I can recommend to have during Nuzlocke runs. Just makes it very easy to get where you want to go very quickly. However, you don't really need to have a Pokemon with Fly in your main party during a Nuzlocke run. It's mostly a utility move during these games. So, it's not really something that you're intended to have on your main team, but it is recommended. Personally, when I do some Nuzlocke runs, I tend to have at least one Pokemon in the box with this move that I kind of bring into the team every now and then when I want to use the move. In previous stream series, I always made sure I had one Pokemon in my party that is able to use this move for convenience's sake. For this playthrough though, it's not going to be a priority, at least possibly. But anyway, Jasmine, sorry to keep you waiting. Will that medicine cure Amphi? Well, it's what it says on the label. Please don't be offended. Amphi will not take anything from anyone but me. Okay? Amphi, how are you feeling? Paloo! Palulu! That is some fast-acting stuff! Oh, I'm so relieved. This is just so wonderful. Thank you so very much. I will return to the gym. So now that we got that taken care of, Amphi is healthy again, and Jasmine will be returning to her position in the Olivine Gym. However, we are not gonna challenge her right now. Potentially we could have a decent chance against her with our current team, but given the levels of her ace Pokemon, I think it'd be best if we wait a while before we actually challenge her. Because again, if we're unprepared against a strong opponent, we could lose our entire team. So yeah, we're going to be holding off on challenging Jasmine until a bit later. We still got a lot of the Johto region to explore, so we'll be taking care of that in the next session. Ooh, we got a call from Baoba now. Oh, hi, July. This is Warden Baoba. Sorry to have kept you waiting. We finally opened the Safari Zone. Do you know where it is? You know the gate inside the cabin in Seawood City? If you go through there and walk for a short while, you should soon see the Safari Zone. We're a little out of the way, but please come visit. So yeah, that call always happens after you have given the medicine to Amphi and then leave the lighthouse, letting you know that a path is now open to us, giving us a new area to explore, some new challenges to face, and some new encounters to make before we get started on the other main objectives we need to do in the Johto region. So yeah, we'll handle that next time. But for now, let's go grab those items we've heard that our mother had been sending our way. Got some Rindo berries. I believe those lower the power of grass attacks. Kebia berries. I forget exactly what those do. And then we got Wakan berries. Believe those limit the damage of electric attacks. So yeah, but got a nice assortment of resources that way. So yeah, Wakan reduce electric damage, Rindo is grass, and then Kebia's poison. Very nice. Alright, so with all that taken care of, I think that is where we're going to end this session. We got a lot of good stuff done, managing to get another gym badge and clearing up pretty much everything we could do with Surf at this point, besides going to some new areas. So, yep, thank you for joining me in this session. Next time, we'll be heading off to the Safari Zone, and then we'll see what else we can see in the Johto region. Until next time, have a good day, and take care.